Hello and welcome to another episode of Agenda 2030. The program gives you insight into the impact of the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, popularly known as the SDGs in Nigeria. The set of 17 goals and 169 targets of the SDGs aim to help countries end poverty and hunger, protect the planet from degradation, foster peace, and realize human rights. I am Toyin Nkamiang John. Thanks for staying with us. And as usual, you can always watch this program and other episodes by subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/Fresh News TV and youtube.com/Agenda 2030 TV. You can also watch the program live on Facebook. Just log on to www.facebook.com/Fresh News NG and www.facebook.com/Agenda 2030 TV. Do follow us on all our social media platforms at Agenda 2030 TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember to drop your comments and share with your contacts. Do use the hashtag Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2030 TV.
Agenda 2030. As a successor framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out a bigger, deeper, and more encompassing framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, designed to transform our world, lift the poor out of poverty, as well as ensure inclusive and healthy society. On Agenda 2030, we take you on a media trip to the global destination of the future we want. With everyone on board, we focus on the people and their struggle, the civil society and their agitations, the government and her development effort, the global development agenda, its 17 goals and 169 targets. We bring you all the deliberations, insightful conversations and high-level partnerships on the road to global destination. Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
Welcome back. To tackle the challenges of funding that may limit the bid by subnational governments to achieve targets set out in the Sustainable Development Goals, the federal government put in place the Conditional Grant Scheme, a structure for partnership with the state and, in some instances, local governments. The partnership covers provision of technical support and counterpart funding for the projects, programs and initiatives through the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. In this episode of Agenda 2030, we will be focusing on the partnership between the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs and some collaborating states. We will also be bringing to you reports. Since the adoption of the SDGs, the wife of the Nigerian President, Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has stood out as one of the lead advocates for the attainment of the goals. She has also backed this up by embarking on strategic interventions by giving hope to the vulnerable through the Future Assured project. In her latest efforts, she has challenged the private sector to join hands in the fight against preventable maternal and child mortality in Nigeria through innovative partnerships with governments. The report.
Speaking at a private sector advocacy meeting for investment in reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child, adolescent health and nutrition at the Banquet Hall State House, Abuja, Mrs. Aisha Buhari noted that though the country is already recording significant achievements in the area of maternal and child health, much still needs to be done. She said this was why her NGO, the Aisha Buhari Foundation, through the Future Assured program, continues to commit to the acceleration of efforts to end preventable maternal, newborn and child deaths. No woman, she said, should die giving birth, and no child should die without having a chance to live.
Today, I'm calling on all private sectors to look out for innovative ways of building partnerships to achieve our goal of improving the health sector. As businesses, entities in our country, you are directly affected by its development. As such, you have invaluable role to play. My team, in collaboration with key stakeholders, have developed the investment menu. It will enable you appreciate your investment according to the number of lives saved. I call on you today to invest in assuring the future of our women and children by taking appropriate action to save lives. On this note, I would like to reaffirm my total commitment to this cause and call on you all to join hands in the fight against preventable maternal and child mortality in Nigeria. We insist that no woman should die giving birth and no child should lose their life without ever having a chance to live.
Also speaking at the event, the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, commended the wife of the President for spearheading advocacy for private sector investment in the health sector, saying the meeting is a collaborative work between Future Assured and the Ministry of Health. He called on wives of governors to cascade the campaign to the state level and involve their husbands, the governors, and the business community. The minister also commended ongoing efforts by the business community to set aside 1% of their profits to a health support trust fund, saying it will make a great difference. The event was attended by the wife of the Senate President, Mrs. Toyin Saraki, wife of the Speaker, Mrs. Gimbia Dogara, wives of governors, captains of industry, development institutions, and the civil society.
The recent Global Festival of Action for SDGs held in Bonn, Germany, was one of the global efforts to sustain the momentum of the implementation of the SDGs. We start by bringing you the remarks by the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed at the event.
We face many tests today: climate change, inequality, the refugee and migration challenge, expanding opportunities for women and girls. But we have a blueprint for a better world, the Sustainable Development Goals. The movement for the global goals is growing, and it is led by people like you. I'm very excited to hear about the ideas and the partnerships emerging from this festival. This incredible network is getting bigger and bigger by the day. I'm so inspired by this drive to catalyze the real change now. We can achieve the 17 goals, but we can't do it alone. We need governments, the private sector, civil society, and each and every one of you here today. The Global Festival for Action is the meeting place for the doers and the drivers to overcome barriers and create systemic change together. I urge you to keep going. Keep using your knowledge and courage to think outside the box. Keep sharing, keep connecting, keep revolutionizing the way we act for sustainable development. And because there is no time to lose, keep pushing the SDG action now.
One anchor pillar of the Sustainable Development Goals is the eradication of poverty. The attainment of this goal, experts say, will definitely have a multiplier effect on the progress of other goals. Efforts in this direction recently received a boost through successful training and empowerment of 536 trainees in Enugu State. The Skills Acquisition Scheme is one of the success stories of the strategic collaboration in the implementation of the SDGs.
The joy of 536 trainees who have successfully undergone training for various vocations under the Enugu State SDGs Empowerment Intervention Program knew no bounds recently when they received financial support of 100,000 seed money to set up their businesses after intensive training. The trainees, selected from the 17 local government areas of the state, were the first batch of beneficiaries of the empowerment scheme designed to address the problems of unemployment and poverty among the people of the state. The Skills Acquisition and Empowerment Scheme was executed by the state in partnership with the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs. Speaking during the graduation ceremony in Enugu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefuliwe, who was represented by the head of sectors in the office, Yahaya Hamza, commended Governor Ugwanyi for being SDG friendly and creating an enabling environment for achieving the SDGs. Princess Orilokpe Adefuliwe, who emphasized the importance of skills acquisition to self-reliance, diversification of the nation's economy, and encouragement of the youth to embrace self-employment, also announced that approval has been granted to Enugu State for continuation of the skill acquisition program to consolidate the success achieved by the federal and Enugu State governments through the initiative, while calling on other states to emulate Governor Ugwanyi towards the realization of the SDGs for the overall benefit of the people.
One of the major problems of the education system in Africa is that it lays little or no emphasis on practical studies that aims at imparting skills. The result is that the students graduate from school without necessary skills that makes them employable, or worse still, without the skills to enable them to establish their own businesses with a view to becoming self-reliant. The SDGs Goal 4 is about quality education, and skill acquisition is a component of quality education. Through it, poverty can be eradicated and then zero hunger achieved. Your Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, the Coal City State, I must commend you for being SDGs friendly and creating an enabling environment for achieving the SDG goals. I also want to encourage other states to borrow a leaf from Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwanyi Buru by ensuring that their plans and projects are targeted towards achieving the goals of the SDGs, so that our 2030 global agenda will be realized as a nation.
While congratulating the graduates on their achievements, Governor Ugwanyi stated that the scheme was undoubtedly a very important and timely intervention that will help to create wealth, reduce unemployment, and stimulate productivity, especially among our youths and women.
SDG Skill Acquisition Program is undoubtedly a very important and timely intervention that is helping to create wealth, reduce unemployment, and stimulate productivity, especially among our youths and women. It is certainly a welcome complement to the efforts and initiative of our administration in the area of youth/women empowerment, skill acquisition, and poverty alleviation.
Governor Ugwanyi also expressed gratitude to the federal government for its continued support for the implementation of the SDGs in the state, and pledged the continued cooperation and full commitment of his administration to the success of the program, as well as other collaborations between the state and federal government designed for the benefit and empowerment of the people.
Benue State stands out as one of the earliest states to domesticate the SDGs in Nigeria. This was followed up with a prompt and concrete action to access counterpart funding from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs. These efforts have started yielding results with the delivery of people-oriented projects for the benefit of the people. The report.
The crown in the jaws of achievement by the Benue State government is unarguably the imposing Benue State Center for Enterprise Development and Innovation in Makurdi. The center has facilities for training of youths in every area of vocation, just like other skills acquisition centers in Apa Ajila and Bajimba in Ado and Guma local government areas. All the centers will provide a much-needed platform for skills acquisition, which will empower the unemployed youth in the state to become entrepreneurs, thereby removing many from falling into poverty. On a recent walking visit to the state, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orilope Adefulire, embarked on an inspection tour of the project, which was constructed in partnership with her office. She also promised to fast-track the process of ensuring that the project is immediately completed and put into usage in the interest of the people.
To ensure the successful implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals across the country, the importance of strong support from the legislature cannot be overemphasized. The Benue State government, in realization of this, recently organized a one-day workshop for the members of the House of Assembly with support from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs and technical backstopping from the UNDP. The report.
One of the concerns with implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals is the challenges of proper funding for achieving the targets set out in the development framework. Tackling the issues of funding is important and requires the support of the lawmakers. The need to overcome this challenge, as well as enlist the buy-in of the state legislature, necessitated the one-day sensitization and advocacy workshop for members of the State House of Assembly on Sustainable Development Goals in Benue State recently. Lawmakers in state houses of assemblies, apart from being close to the grassroots as representatives of their various constituencies, are also saddled with the statutory responsibility of approving annual budgets of their states. It is therefore believed that effective partnership between the legislature and the executive is essential for the achievement of the SDGs. The workshop, which treated a wide range of topics, was organized with the theme, "The Role of State Houses of Assembly in the Implementation and Achievement of the SDGs." It provided an opportunity for the government to restate its commitment to good governance and implementation of pro-poor programs and projects. Governor Samuel Ortom said his government attached great importance to the SDGs and being the first state to domesticate the initiative. It would ensure that the state does not fall behind in its strive for the attainment of the goals. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adejoke Orelokwe Adefulire, emphasized that the successful implementation of the 2030 Agenda in Benue State requires grassroots acceptance as well as policies, laws, and financial resources to effectively implement them. Early engagement in mainstreaming and prioritizing the goals, targets, and indicators, and support in the implementation process. The United Nations Resident Coordinator and UNDP representatives in Nigeria, Edward Kalon, on his part, maintained that implementing the SDGs requires effective coordination with and between multiple layers of governance, both national and subnational, as well as strengthening partnership with diverse stakeholders, civil society, parliament, and local authorities.
In the interview, we will be bringing to you next the governor, who gave more insight on how he employs the SDGs framework in the development of his state. Here's an excerpt.
Sustainable Development Goals remain one program that has the capacity of providing jobs, creating wealth, and providing several opportunities for our people. But what attracted me most was not just domesticating the program in my state, but domesticating it with the people. One culture that we have around our people today is that government programs or government property are nobody's property. But this is a program that the direct beneficiaries are co-managing it. And so it makes it much easier for the people. And again, for the fact that there is provision for partnership, gave me encouragement. For me, bringing counterpart funding and getting something in addition is a plus as far as I'm concerned, because it adds value to development. And I looked at all this and I saw the totality of the value addition that we come. For us to eradicate poverty in our land, it must start with the people at the grassroots. Once we're able to stabilize the economies of the grassroots people, it will go a long way in providing not just wealth for the people, but even security. Our Sustainable Development Program seek to do this. So it will provide security, it will provide food security, it will create what? It will create opportunities for our people, and everyone will be happy. For us today, we've tried to prioritize them. We cannot do everything at the same time. But how I wish that we had the resources, the manpower to be able to carry on the 17 goals at a time. But for now, we are looking at issues of health. Health is very, very critical because you need to be healthy to be able to do other things. Provision of water, of course, water is life, which we are doing. We're also looking at skills acquisition for our youth who are roaming the streets today. There are several graduates out there who are just roaming the street without jobs, and we think that if we're able to provide skills to our youth, they'll be engaged in several aspects of life and be able to create work. So we're looking at these areas initially, but eventually we'll get there. SDGs program are so dear to me because they seek to encourage, elevate, and also lift people from that poverty level to a level that they can appreciate the essence of life.
And away from that, it is now time to bring to you our quiz segment. On this segment, we will be bringing to our audience at home and respondents on the streets questions related to the SDGs. Selected winners from among the participants will be invited to the Agenda 2030 studios for the live quiz segment, from where the overall winner and the runners-up will be entitled to our special prizes. First, let's bring to you the views of the respondents on the streets.
2015.
2015.
I'm not so sure of the year it was adopted, but I know that immediately after MDG finishes, we had SDG goals, which the government is pursuing currently.
2016. I think 2015.
It was adopted in 2015.
It was adopted in 2015.
2015, I think, after the MDGs came to an end.
2015. I think 2015, when the present administration came in.
Nigeria will continue to support the United Nations in all its efforts, including the attainment of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I thank you.
Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
Welcome back. Last week, we asked, what is the lifespan of the SDGs? For those who didn't know, the lifespan of the SDGs is 15 years. We have some winners and will be contacted at the end of this first season. For our question of the week, what are the 3 dimensions of development upon which the SDGs are built? Send your answers to the number and email on your screen. Do endeavor to include your name and your phone numbers in your response. Remember, you can also watch this program and other episodes by subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/FreshNewsTV and youtube.com/Agenda 2030 TV. You can also watch the program live on Facebook. Just log on to www.facebook.com/FreshNewsNG and www.facebook.com/Agenda 2030 TV. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Agenda 2030 TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember to drop your comments and share with your contacts. Do use the hashtag Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2030 TV. And that's our package for the week. Thank you very much for being part of the program. My name is Toyin Kamian John. We'll see you again next week. Until then, bye.